good, guys? It is Reed and welcome back to another tutorial. Today we have a highly requested video. This is going to be the turnover pass tutorial. Now, I do not use passes that often, but I do use the turnover pass and the Herman pass fairly often. Now, I won't lie, this video is going to be semi-similar to the Herman pass video because the turnover pass and the Herman pass are very, very similar moves. I'm going to go into a few more other ideas and different ideas for the turnover pass in this video and some other little nuances and subtleties, so I highly recommend you stick around and watch this. The first that I could find of the turnover pass was published by Jacob Daly, the Herman turnover pass in 1950, and it's a great move. It's very well justified, probably one of the best passes, I'd say, you know, up there with the Herman pass, better than the classic pass. In my opinion. I've got a couple really neat ideas I think you guys will like, including a cover turnover pass that is very, very neat. So yeah, without further ado, let's just jump into the turnover pass. All right, so let's have a card selected. We'll use the King of Hearts, perfect. And we'll leave that in the middle of the deck. Take the deck here, square it up, snap my fingers, and it pops right back to the top. All right, time for some exposure on the turnover pass. So if we have a card selected, the Nine of Clubs, we'll leave it into the middle of the deck. And then, as I turn the deck over, to show you they're all different, it ends up on the top of the deck. So, time for the breakdown of the turnover pass. So similar to the Herman pass, there's a couple things you want to keep in mind here. When you do the turnover pass, so first you're going to have the card selected, right? So let's say 3 diamonds, and you want to have a break on top of the card. So, I always like to do the dribble, and when you start your dribble, you dribble the first card off the back of the deck and the rest forward, and now you have a nice in jog that you can pick up at and get your pinky break. So now you have your pinky break above that 3 of diamonds, right? So I do that, it's very subtle, and you have a nice little in jog, and you just pick up at it, and you stick your pinky in there, and you get a nice pinky break. Now I like to pause for a split second before I just jump into the pass. But the biggest thing here is you don't want to do it like the classic pass where you keep everything sort of straight and you just, you know, like this. The turnover pass, like the Herman pass, you want to come forward. Basically, you want to come forward with this packet and that's going to shade. Now this packet should be aimed right at the eye line, in this case for me, right at the camera. So I'm grabbing in biddle grip. Okay, so I have my 3 fingers at the front, thumb on the back. And I grip that top packet, the thumb I'm gripping in at the break there. Okay, I come forward, and when I come forward, that gives me the cover. And these hands are pulling, these fingers right here, these 3 of the left hand are pulling, and the index finger is pushing. Okay, so the packet kind of flies open like that. So that's happening under here. So you can't see any of that because you have the deck plus my big hand, you know, all covering that. So as I move forward, this flings open. From the front, you can't see any of it. So that happens until this all clears, right? So you can see what that looks like. Okay, what it looks like is it comes forward and this clears. So what that means is this edge of the deck is going to get cleared. So this is going to go past this edge of the deck, so now it can come around. So that's what you do on a Herman pass, and you'd come around and you'd bring that up over the top, right? And I talked about different ways to kind of cover that as you bring it up. With the turnover pass, you have a beautiful cover of turning the deck over. So now that you've done this, you basically flip this packet over. So now the next thing to do is just drop this packet on top. There's a few key things you want to be careful of here. The biggest thing is doing this. This is a big problem that happens when you do this pass. You go forward, and then when you turn, you have this like weird step that just came out of nowhere, which not the end of the world, but you do want to get rid of it. So what's happening there is this corner of the top packet, you're turning it too high. You're not aiming it deep into the hand. So for example, you're getting the corner here and then you're turning. So it ends up halfway. What you need to do is as you come forward, get this corner all the way down into the hand. So when you turn it over, it ends up square on top of the deck. Does that make sense? So as you come forward, this corner at the front here dips down so it meets up with this corner, the one that it should line up with as you flip it up. Right? Because normally what will happen is you'll come here and the corner will be way up here and then you'll turn over. That's why you get this weird step. So you want to come forward, plant that corner down here so it makes a nice V. It doesn't matter if the backs aren't lined up because as you flip it, that'll all kind of work out. So again, you have your break above the selection, the 6 of diamonds. Come over top and biddle grip, slide this forward. You're riding the front edge here. As this comes forward, these fingers open up like this, these pull down and the index kicks out, right? So, see that? The second it clears, this corner here, the top right near your pinky, dives down, the corners meet, the 2 corners meet, and that's when you turn and you open everything up. This bottom corner slides down into here, and you have a nice put together deck with the 6 of diamonds controlled at the top. So it's a very easy sort of move, okay, like compared to other passes, right? And it's just a matter of getting this back packet at the eye line and knowing your angles. Because what you're mimicking is just turning the deck over, right? So if you think about it, like turning a deck over kind of like this, you're just kind of doing the same thing. So this and the same thing. So that one was a pass. That one would be normal. That one was the pass. That one would be normal. So it's supposed to look roughly the same, right? There's just that sort of 1 second delay as you move the hand forward. But these are all passes here, right? So there's a lot of nice subtleties that you can use to help make this better. We'll get into those now, right? So in terms of subtleties, I like the square up a lot. That really helps cover things. So as you execute the pass, and you turn, this hand immediately comes and squares up the front, and this one squares up the side. That's just gonna help hide any seams that you might have as you're executing the pass, right? Because if you were flipping a deck, normally, you'd probably still get some splitting of the cards, like this is normal flipping, right? And I'm still kind of squaring, so when I do the pass, right? You want it to all look essentially the same. Very important. So you could also incorporate a shuffle and turn this into a sort of Mad Hatter control where you come forward, do it, and then shuffle like this. That's great cover. So again, it's the same thing, break on top of the 6 of diamonds, come forward, do it, and then this bottom packet, as you're turning it over, you pull out of the bottom and you start shuffling, and that 6 of diamonds remains untouched on top, right? Because if you follow, in this case, the 6 of hearts, it's out here, and then I'm just taking that bottom packet as I rotate and giving it a little shuffle. And that's a super nice cover, and it also is in the action of the turnover, and it also makes things feel a little bit more loose, and you can still execute that control. So the shuffle is a great little subtlety to add. Dropping to the table, if you have a table, I really like that. So I'll go like this, and drop it like this, because that drop makes everything really messy, right? It makes everything feel really out of your control. So I'll instantly do that. So as I do this, just as they're lining up, I'll drop them on the table. And then in that case, it doesn't matter, right, how square they are because you drop them. So I'll often like to do that, right? So if I want to control the jack of diamonds to the bottom, or to the top, sorry, it would just look like that, snap, and it comes to the top. And that looks super clean. You could also do a dribble, right? 6 of spades, square everything up, come here, execute it, and then do a little dribble and control it, so that all you're doing is as you're doing it, you're turning and you're using this right hand to come over top and grip. As you drop everything, it'll be messy, but that'll be fine here, right? That'll look totally normal and kind of help hide things a bit. It's just a little move you can do. In terms of body language on this move, natural and smooth. So you want no weird actions, just come over and just execute a nice smooth pass, right? Maybe from the side you can get a good angle of what's happening here. Right, comes forward as this comes over and everything just turns around. So yeah, just be natural and don't draw attention. Don't do any anything. I don't want to see any weird fast jerky, just nice and smooth. Just make it look like you're turning over the deck and you're squaring everything, right? So some uses and other ideas, right? So here we can get into some really cool things. So I want to talk about doing this face up or face down, right? If you're doing it face down, which I'd say a lot of people do, there's a couple justifications. So you need the break on top of their card, right? So 6 of diamonds is down there, or 6 of clubs is down there. I pause here, right? So it's like we've moved away from the selection. They've made their pick, and I could say, look, and I want to show you that all these cards are in fact different. And it's just really quick. and their cards, you know, controlled to the top in that moment. And that gives you a good reason, right? Why you're turning the deck over, to quickly show them all the cards are different. Obviously don't spread to the top so they see their card on top, and then you just close up and do that. If you're doing it face up, this is really, really nice too, but for different reasons, right? This you could sort of use it as a named card principle, right? You could say, name any card you want. They say the 10 of hearts. Now you come through and you say, look, there's a 10 of hearts right there, and you can see me leave that in the middle of the deck. Be careful, if you're doing it face up, you want the break underneath now, right? You square up and the 10 of hearts is now underneath. Now you say, look, I'll leave that right there, and we'll take the deck and you just flip it over, right? Because now it makes sense, right? How many tricks do you do with the deck face up? Not many. So I love using this as a named card. So again, they say 10 of hearts. You say, look, I'll leave that right there. Get your break. Now you say, all right, here we go. You already have their card under control. So that's super, super nice, right? And doing it face up, like I said, you don't need much justification for why you're flipping the deck over, because most trick starts with the deck this way. It just kind of makes sense. And of course, you know, if you have the table, I love doing this 10 of hearts. You say, all right, we'll leave that deck right there. We'll get back to that later, and have already controlled it to the top. So a really nice subtlety, if you have a table, is doing a spread cover. So how that looks, let's say you have the 6 of clubs here, right? And you do this, then you come here and you spread the cards on the table and you've controlled it to the top. So that is super, super nice. So this would be from a face down. So they say Queen of Hearts, and you say, all right, we'll leave that in the middle. You get your break underneath the Queen of Hearts, right? Coming out here, you simply do the pass as you turn the deck over and instantly go into a spread, and the Queen of Hearts is on top. That's such a clean sequence, right? You can see the 8 of clubs here. And if you, by the way, if you want to do this like a face-up dribble, you can too. So they say stop, 8 of clubs, you push over, and you just get a break underneath it like this, and you dribble on top, square up, boom, spread the cards. You know, your card could be anywhere in this deck, or whatever you want to do. Square up everything, and their card is already on top. So that spread is beautiful. The cover turnover pass is something really unique. So why would you want to use this? Well, you got to be careful. The one thing with the turnover pass is if you have a card selected and you go like this, and you show what that bottom card is, right? 5 of hearts, and for whatever reason, it's very unlikely, but if they notice that 3 of diamonds, now you go here and you execute the turnover pass, and there's no longer the 3 of diamonds here. I'm not saying it would tip the method, but you don't want to flash that bottom card whenever you do it. So you might throw out the card like this, have them look at it, and never show what that bottom card is, have them put it on top, then you're good to go. But maybe a magician fooler, or you really want to be careful of that, you can actually do something really neat here. So let me show you this. Let's say 8 of diamonds is our selection, but remember 9 of clubs on the bottom of the deck, right? So we'll leave that card in the middle, and I'll square everything up. 9 of clubs is still on the bottom of the deck, so presumably the pass hasn't happened, but actually it has. So that is like a cover turnover pass, so you can keep the bottom card in position. So what you do there, it's quite difficult, and I'm not the greatest at it, but same thing, you set up, you get your break. As you come forward, you reach these fingers underneath and you slip this card. So as you come forward, you're slipping this card as well, okay? Onto this top packet, and then you just execute the pass, right? So clip, pull forward, boom. After it clears, you execute the pass. It's not just another cool little idea, the cover turnover pass, where you can use that bottom card as cover. All right, guys, that is the turnover pass tutorial. So make sure you go check out the Herman pass tutorial, because a lot of those things will help you, and there's some things in that video that I did not cover, but they will help you with your turnover pass if you're struggling. I really appreciate you guys watching this video and all these tutorials. I'm hoping that they were helpful. So, let me know what you guys think on the turnover pass. Do you like the turnover pass? Do you use it? What are your thoughts? What's your favorite pass? Let me know in the comments, guys. Thank you to all the new subscribers. I appreciate you guys for joining the gang, joining the crew here. Welcome. The channel's still growing. I can't wait to see where it ends up, because it's crazy, crazy how much you guys have been awesome and been supporting. So I'm gonna keep the content coming, and yeah. With all that said, guys, like the video, make sure to comment, subscribe, share, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.